8844. Again, that's 800-885-8844.
This is Paul Feinbaum. That'll do it for me today. Coming up next, The Drive with Wes Neighbors and Steve Moulton on 97.7 ESPN, The Zone.
97.7 ESPN, The Zone.
The sound of the organ. The crack of the bat.
It is gone.
The sight of watching the ball go over the wall. And the taste of peanuts and Cracker Jacks. There's nothing like it. Play ball! It's America's pastime. From the first pitch to the final out, you can hear every game right here on your home for Alabama baseball.
Your home of the Alabama Crimson Tide is 97.7 ESPN, The Zone.
There's power in caring when it is put into action. Each year, our bankers serve on nonprofit boards, support our local educators, and volunteer with our hometown food bank. I'm Bobby Humphrey, Vice President of Business Development for Bryan Bank, and community service is just not a line item in our mission statement. It's who we are. Because after all, Alabama is our home too. That kind of commitment to community might not be what you would expect from a bank, but it's exactly what you can expect from us. Give us a call or stop by one of our 2 offices in the Huntsville area and experience unbeatable service and legendary results.
Bryan Bank Equal Housing Lender, NMLS ID 2428943, member FDIC.
You don't have to go somewhere else just so you can go somewhere new. Plan your next vacation with Huntsville International Airport and Breeze Airways. Enjoy friendly, convenient, nonstop travel to some of the most exciting destinations in the U.S., including the home of 12 world-famous theme parks, Orlando, Florida. With flights starting as low as just $49, Breeze has got you covered with easy, breezy, nonstop flights to Orlando. Make all their dreams come true. Book nonstop to Orlando now at flybreeze.com.
I'm here with Thomas from Talent Heating and Air. With the temperatures going up and temperatures going down right now is a good time to get your heating and air system looked at. Thomas, when somebody calls, you guys answer.
That's right. The phones are staffed by us. They're manned 24/7. We're ready to come out and take care of you that day.
How do they give you guys a call?
You give us a call at 256-503-4490.
And you can find you guys on the World Wide Web at
talenthvac.com.
And now is a good time to do this because you guys are offering a special deal.
That's right. We're doing $49 tune-ups this spring. We're also doing free second opinions. We offer that year-round. Somebody comes out, they say you got a bad compressor, leaking refrigerant. Give us a call, see if we can save you some money.
Thomas from Talent Heating and Air. Thomas, one more time, that phone number.
256-503-4490. AL certain number 21014.
I'm Abraham here for Valley Equipment Rental. You know, if you're a contractor installing fences, you need Valley Equipment Rental for augers of all sizes. And if you need a forklift to get those shingles up high on a roof, Valley Equipment has 10K lifts that reach to 56 feet. Valley also has tow-behind lifts that have a working height of 35 to 55 feet as well for power washing those 2-story homes or doing whatever else you need to do. Lifts, forklifts, tow-behind lifts, 35 feet and up. They have your lift at Valley Equipment Rental. 2 locations, North and South Parkway. Valley Equipment Rental.
It all comes back to money.
Visit our store right now at zonedeals.bigdealsmedia.net to take advantage of all the best deals in the Tennessee Valley. Or just go to our website, 977espn.com, and click on the Zone Deals logo to start saving right now.
Now, as to the price.
These deals won't last long, so get yours now. Zone Deals. You'll thank us later.
A man who could easily afford to buy a vowel.
And now, a man who knows what you ate for breakfast.
Now for the biggest thinker of them all.
He knows it all. He is Drew DeArmond. Listen to Drew and Scott Tyson weekday mornings. It's Talkin' Ball on 97.7 ESPN, The Zone.
But that trick never worked.
WCZN, Union Grove, Huntsville, Alabama. 97.7 ESPN, The Zone. This hour is brought to you by Woody Anderson Ford, Alabama's F-150 Superstore. Welcome to The Drive with Wes Neighbors and Steve Moulton. Call into the Neighbors Wealth Management Hotline, 256-576-4977.
That's how I roll. And I'm not going to drink and drive anymore.
That's 256-576-4977. Now, here's Wes and Steve.
So this is always fun here. This is always, by the way, right out of the gate, a big thank you to Drew DeArmond for filling in for me yesterday. nothing like bacon under lights while handing out awards yesterday over at UAH.
Fat man in a little coat.
Damn straight on that.
It's that button.
Yeah.
Put pressure on that button.
How are you, Wes?
I'm doing good. Good to be here.
It's always fun to welcome in Connor Neighbors as Bonesaw is back with us. He is the Director of Athletic Performance for Football at the University of Louisiana, and he is kind enough to join us in studio, less. How we doing?
Great. That's a mouthful for a title. Just for head.
Is that what it says on your business card? Yeah, you have business cards?
No.
No?
No, I'm on the referral system.
I think that can be the description for Division I college football as a whole. But nonetheless, what's the experience like so far in Lafayette for you?
It's been incredible. I would say that it's a very special place for me because my wife is from there.
Okay.
And we have family there, and it's made my home in Louisiana more permanent. And so our roots are running deep, and I'm becoming more Cajun by the day.
You was always a Cajun. We knew something was wrong with him. We didn't know what.
Yeah, there's something in the water down there.
No, it was.
No, you're too skinny to be a Cajun.
No, that's because he goes to MMA at lunch.
Yeah, that too. Well, I've been eating all the local produce and meat down there. So
yeah. So when Connor was little, he would catch he caught a chipmunk when he was like 4.
Jeez.
A chipmunk.
Yeah.
Had it in a box. What we name it? You caught frogs and you named it Cool Dude. You caught that.
Called it what?
His named it Cool Dude. He caught one of those
Cool
frogs.
Dude?
Yeah.
Okay.
And then he caught a chipmunk. He caught a rabbit by by its legs. I mean, yeah. And we
just your standard SAQ, short area quickness.
Okay. Is this part of your training regimen?
No,
down in Lafayette.
We knew something was wrong with him when he went to LSU. We were like, that was it.
Yeah.
He was good at the whole time.
No, it's an incredible spot. I love it. I've been able to hone in on my coaching abilities in our program, and I've been able to grow in a management position to where I actually am obviously running the program, but not only are we coaching the athletes, I'm coaching the coaches. And I believe that I was fortunate enough to obviously learn under Coach Moffitt at LSU, but he had the blueprint, and anyone that's been around him and has adopted the blueprint, but didn't just copy paste, but took the blueprint, made it their own. And it just goes to show how successful everyone has been because, I mean, you name it, there's been he's coached many national championship players, and he's molded many national championship coaches.
What is different from training athletes now to when you were at LSU? How big of a change is it?
Huge change. It's a huge change.
Really?
Well,
what is the biggest change?
I would say obviously roster turnover.
Okay.
So we have players that come into high school that are developmental. You have players that are coming, that are leveling up from FCS to group of 4, or group of 5. And then
you got to write the first group of 4.
Group of 4 now.
Oh, it is still group of 4.
Well,
perfect. I've been off of social media for Lent, so I'm a little behind.
You're good. No, you're good. You're good.
So you have those types of players. Then you have players that are bounce backs from Power 4.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yep.
Okay.
You're good.
So you have the bounce backs, and your needs analysis changes sometimes, multiple times a year. Obviously, you have early signing day, which really doesn't mean anything. And then you have the first transfer portal window, second transfer portal window. And then if you have any roster or roster availability, or even any scholarships that, let's say that the school doesn't, fill in right away.
Mm-hmm.
Then if you have a couple guys come in a little later, then your needs analysis changes. And depending on, who you got on your team and how much experience they have, it used to be more so checkers. Now it's really intricate chess if you want to be great at it.
Especially with the roster turnover,
Right.
especially at a place like Louisiana.
Mhm. I feel we have it to where even though there is a lot of roster turnover, the meat and potato stays the same. We're a developmental program.
Yeah.
So yeah, we're going to develop high school athletes and younger transfers. And then you'll have a handful of guys that are one and dones or 2-for-1s or stuff like that. So that doesn't sway the scale as much as you would think. But it also depends on who your head coach is and what is the philosophy of recruiting. Because if you want to be in that developmental, league or type of program, then you're going to get young guys and you are going to try to develop them as fast as possible, but in the right way. Whereas if you're on the flip side of that, you have a coach that's just, I want the best roster available and the best roster money can buy, then those will possibly be one and dones on paper. And then maybe one and dones for guys that just go there, as a mercenary to either level up or be a bounce back.
One of the things I've talked about on the show several times, is I believe, like your developmental school, that if a guy goes there and you develop him for 2 years, I always said if he graduates, then he can do what he wants. But if you're developed for 2 years, somebody should have to pay you something back on that kid. Like, in other words, this year in the LSU Ole Miss game, LSU's best receiver was on the best defensive back, who the defensive back will be the number 1 draft pick. Unfortunately, the receiver was killed just recently. But both of them were sitting there guarding. I'm looking. I said, both those guys were originally at Louisiana Lafayette.
Yeah.
So that has to be frustrating.
Yeah.
To sit there and work with these kids for 2-3 years and then see them go.
Well, if they're successful, then they can, and they're great people, then it will help you in the long run, I believe.
Yeah.
But it's an interesting thing. You're kind of like a mercenary when it comes to it. And then it just depends on who you are as a person and what type of level you are as a coach and how well are you building relationships, no matter the stay, or if they're there for, 6 months or less than that, if it's a senior that just came in right in the summertime, or if they're there from when they're 18 and they graduate. It just depends on how well you're willing to connect and how much are you willing to pour into someone while they have your jersey on. Because at the same time, we all wear the same jersey and we all share a common goal and we all want to pull on the same side of the rope. No matter the feelings I have, if I agree or disagree with why they're here, they're here.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
your job is still the same to
Right.
develop and
Right. The mission is still the same, is to win every game.
Yeah,
So
yeah,
how can we coach this guy and these young men to win every game? And then what happens when free agency hits happens when free agency hits.
twice a year.
And that's for everyone involved, that and coaches included.
Yeah, that's right.
So you just
Yeah.
never know. It's interesting, it's fun, it's stressful. It is a you're like generals now.
Mm-hmm.
And you're trying to build the most powerful army you can in the shortest amount of time.
But giving all the cards to the players is very dangerous.
Yeah, well, you got to look at the institution that's allowed that, unfortunately.
Coming up on the program today, you'll enjoy this, Bonesaw. T-Bob Abear is going to join us at the top of the hour, coming up at 6 o'clock. But on the other side of our first time out, speaking of free agents, we have talked a lot about Nico, now Madden Iamaleava, heading out to UCLA as well. David Basil from the Little Rock area is going to join us on the other side, because if there was one thing that I heard from Sam Pittman as well as Bobby Petrino, that they were mentioning about Madden Iamaleava and his progression.
Just signed, Connor. They gave him a bunch of money, and now he's already left.
Well, we'll dive into that story
on the story is basically they're going to try to claw back.
That's exactly right. Well, we'll see how that works out there for the folks in Fayetteville, Arkansas. But David Basil joins us next, and we got Connor here with us for the full ride as well.
You're listening to The Drive with Wes Neighbors and Steve Moulton on 97.7 ESPN The Zone.
Ford Motor Company. From America, for America. Hi, folks. Bobby White back again for Woody Anderson Ford with a real quick quiz. Out of all the manufacturers, do you know which auto company employs the most hourly workers in America? Ford. Do you know which company assembles the most vehicles in this country? Ford. That's not just a coincidence. It's a commitment. A 120-year-old commitment to build in America for America. And during this unprecedented moment in automotive history, you stand to benefit big time. Woody Anderson Ford is now offering employee pricing. You pay what we pay. We've got over 190 F-150s for you to choose from with generous finance rates and the best deals of the year on America's best-selling truck for 48 years in a row. Employee pricing can save you thousands off MSRP, and with over 600 Fords for you to choose from, there's a good chance you'll find just exactly what you're looking for. This offer ends May 31st, so hurry in. Woody Anderson Ford.
Eagle Masonry and Insulation. It's right there in the name. Eagle is your one-stop shop for block, stone, or brickwork, monument signs, and outdoor kitchens and fireplaces. Eagle also offers the finest craftsmanship and insulation, including fiberglass or spray foam insulation, and of course, insulation removal. Philip Love and his team have years of experience, bringing the region the best in masonry and insulation services. For more information and a quote, visit insulatewitheagle.com or call 256-755-1556. Eagle saves you time. Eagle saves you money.
Hi, this is Wes Neighbors. I'm here with Sam Fleming with Fleming Roofing and Restoration. Sam, tell the folks about Fleming Roofing and Restoration.
Hey, Wes. Our company, Fleming Roofing and Restoration, specializes in commercial and residential roofing and repairs. I'm a fifth-generation Huntsvillian, and our family's been doing construction business in Huntsville area since 1965.
Sam, what kind of roofs does Fleming Roofing and Restoration do?
Our guys are skilled enough. We can come out and address any kind of leaks or issues you might have on your commercial, on your metal roofing, on your shingles. We can do anything, and we can offer you a solution to repair it, or we can replace it.
Well, you guys also do insurance restoration.
Our staff has 10 plus years of experience as insurance adjusters, and we really do know the inside and out of the claims process at Fleming Roofing and Restoration.
Check out Fleming Roofing and Restoration online at FlemingHSV.com, or you can call or text them at 256-651-9440.
Hey, Wes, we show up.
You don't have to go somewhere else just so you can go somewhere new. Plan your next vacation with Huntsville International Airport and Breeze Airways. Enjoy friendly, convenient, nonstop travel to some of the most exciting destinations in the U.S., including the home of 12 world-famous theme parks, Orlando, Florida. With flights starting as low as just $49, Breeze has got you covered with easy, breezy, nonstop flights to Orlando. Make all their dreams come true. Book nonstop to Orlando now at flybreeze.com.
Here in North Alabama, barbecue is a part of what makes our home so special, and great barbecue from Lawler's makes it just that much better. Since 1978, Lawler's has been serving up their delicious barbecued pork, ribs, chicken, ham, and turkey for generations of family get-togethers. Recognized as the best barbecue joint in Alabama for 2 years in a row, Lawler's is thrilled to share their award-winning barbecue for your next family meal or catered event. Order online or stop by any one of their 14 area locations. Lawler's Barbecue, cooked slow, served fast.
This segment of The Drive is brought to you by Woody Anderson Ford, located online at WoodyAndersonFord.com with 2 locations, Hughes Road in Madison and Jordan Lane in Huntsville. Bring it.
Always a fun day when Connor Neighbors is in the house. We'll have the full 2 hours with the former LSU Tiger, now the man in charge of, what did I say? The director of athletic performance for football there for the Ragin' Cajuns. But we've got a lot to get into with our next guest. That is David Basil. You can follow him on Twitter at David Basil or an X or whatever they're calling it this week. Baz, man, goodness gracious. What's going on there in the natural state?
Yeah, is there a reason you're calling me today?
Maybe. But, you know, I do listen to a lot of Sam Pittman, and because he is very open and honest with the media. And when I heard Bobby Petrino talking glowingly of a certain freshman quarterback. I was kind of gritting my teeth a little bit hearing the news out of Tennessee. I was really hoping that Madden would stick around, but that's not the case.
Well, Travis Williams, the Razorback defensive coordinator, he was interviewed at a presser, I guess, last week, and they were asking him about some of the standouts of the spring, maybe that, the people that weren't aware of. And he said, not going to say it.
Yeah.
Not going to mention it because it just gives attention. And so you sort of think of that same thing, with Bobby Petrino. You think, is it worthwhile to brag on a kid who may be the backup that, he basically plays for? That kid could play. Hey, did you hear what Bobby Petrino said? He said, I'm like Lamar Jackson at this stage in my career. And, and I think when most people heard that, and I heard it when Petrino said it, I didn't think anything of it. I just thought freshman, just getting here, trying to get his feet wet, that kind of so I don't think that was the full reason as to what happened. Because I'll tell you, when Arkansas got him, I think we all looked around and said, where'd that come from? He was not on any radar for Arkansas recruiting. It was one of those things that just fell in Arkansas's lap, I guess, because of the proximity of he and his brother at Tennessee. And so, and then Arkansas also got a receiver, a teammate of his. And so he was sort of a bonus get, and a really good bonus get. Obviously, he was highly ranked. But I think most people, felt, he's just a freshman. He's getting good training under Petrino. I don't think we probably thought about the impact of what was happening at Tennessee, especially when you hear that Nico winds up at UCLA and thinking, hey, all of a sudden now Big Brother is not nearby. Parents don't want to go all the way to Arkansas to see their kids sit on the bench behind, a experienced quarterback in Taylor Green.
Mm-hmm.
And so it's not a shocker. So I'm not so sure how much weight should be given to what Petrino said, although it doesn't hurt, especially because he ends up going back. He's apparently going to UCLA to back up his brother. But I thought it was interesting. Oops, maybe we just don't say anything about anybody who's not a starter anymore. On the football team.
So he was doing really well in practice.
Yeah.
Well, he was. You got a kid in Taylor Green who's going to get the majority of his snaps, and you got another kid, KJ Jackson, who's really highly touted and really been impressive in camp. And all of a sudden, I think just you got beat reporters who ask those questions, and hey, just how is Madden doing? And all of a sudden, Petrino decided to go, all right, he doesn't know half the plays, but that when he decides to throw a ball, he does it about as good as anybody I've ever seen as a freshman, other than, my Heisman Trophy quarterback who's
Lamar
the NFL
Jackson.
MVP. Yeah. And so I think that's what sort of, I don't think he's just been killing it. I just think he just showed his unbelievable ability, and Petrino happened to share that.
So that's why I was gritting my teeth when he said the words Lamar Jackson. I was just like, ooh, boy.
Wow.
I mean, that's juicy for everybody to sop up right there. But at the same time, all eyes on Madden all of a sudden.
Yes. Yeah. I mean, again, for Petrino to say that, I think Arkansas fans, when they heard that, they go, great. Maybe he'll challenge. Maybe he'll challenge KJ Jackson. Maybe he'll be a backup that, and all of a sudden, now when you see that happening, you're thinking, all right, well, if you're him, thinking, wow, if I'm that good, maybe I should go make some money. Not being the backup. But then actually, he didn't make the decision to go to another school. It was he's going to have the exact same role at UCLA. He's going to most likely sit the bench and behind his brother for 1 year, which is okay. He was going to sit the bench this year. So that's not odd. It's, obviously the bigger story is, in Arkansas now today is, okay, well, if that's what you're going to do, let's take a look at the contract we have with you. But I can certainly see if you're him, I can understand where, hey, the only reason I'm here is because my brother was at Tennessee. Now, because we have all the power in terms of negotiation and leaving, courts have ruled in our favor. We can go wherever we want to go. Nobody ever is going to check us. I'm just going to decide, regardless of the circumstances of the contract, I'm going to UCLA,
Coming out of spring, I know there was a lot left out of the wide receiver room. I did not hear a whole lot about the wide receiver room there for the Hogs. How does that group look to you, Bass?
Yeah, I think that's a pretty good description. I don't think that room really knocked anybody out. And, they didn't have a great room last year. Thankfully, Andrew Armstrong is into one of the best in the SEC, a kid who was a Division II kid, a couple years ago. And so, you got a lot of guys who really just didn't knock you out in spring. And the rumor was that Arkansas might go after somebody in the portal here the next few days to try to get somebody. And so I don't know. I think that was something that was not impressive. There were some. It was a group of heady and good players, but nobody just really. You looked at there and go, "Wow, this is a group that should put fear into a defense at this point, at least."
That's not very pleasant to hear. And this is coming off of a 7-win campaign, 3-5, and that Tennessee win they hung their hat on that one last year.
Yeah, if you listen to the guys who are up there every day watching practice, it's you didn't really. You got a quarterback's going to be better. Second year under Petrino, you got offensive line's going to be better. Made some moves, and so the offensive line's going to be better. But then you still look at your defense. Do you have enough players? Do you have enough players at receiver? You lose your star tight end. So I don't know. I mean, again, I think that, and that's where a lot of people are projecting, the team to be around 5 or 6 wins like they were last year. And I don't think you probably saw anything in the spring that just made you go, oh no, this team's going to be much better. Now, again, it makes a difference when you have a quarterback who's, had another year and you have an offensive line that's better. That will make a difference. Yeah. But same times your running back room and your receiver room and your tight end room just aren't as strong. So we'll see what happens. I think and then next year you got a really tough schedule. I mean, it's just an absolutely brutal schedule next year. So
yeah,
I don't know what will happen. We'll see.
I'm taking a look at the road games at Ole Miss, at Memphis, at Tennessee, at LSU, and at Texas are the road games for the Hogs coming up this year. You do get Notre Dame at home. That'll be nice to see.
Yeah. I mean, you got to stretch there, Steve, where you got West, you've got the first 4 games. You got Alabama State 1, and then you've got a 3-game stretch where you've got, Ole Miss at Ole Miss, Memphis at Memphis, Notre Dame at home.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, that's the first 3, and then all of a sudden you hit, I think,
bye week.
A&M, LSU. Yeah, it's just absolutely a tough one. So, I'm sorry, I left out Arkansas State, which is, it's the first time that game's ever been played in the history of college football in Arkansas. So,
and that's at Little Rock, right?
That's at Little Rock. So, yeah, it's interesting. It's that's why when Hunter Yurchek's statement came out today, it does take a little I guess it was today or yesterday.
Yeah.
Yesterday, I guess it was. It takes a little causes a little distraction about the team itself. and now it's more about. Although I'll tell you, it's really been interesting. I think the national response to Hunter Yurchek's response has been pretty remarkable. I think all of us who cover college sports, college football, have been waiting for this kind of moment where all of a sudden somebody goes, wait a minute, hold on. If we've got an agreement, you need to honor your side of the agreement. Nobody's done that publicly. Nobody's done that. And so finally, I think of the fan base here in Arkansas is like, good, great. If that's the case, if that's the agreement, let's go. But there's, nobody's been willing to say that publicly. Nobody's willing to, because again, you always lose in court. This and this. The players have all the leverage. So that's been an interesting discussion today. Sort of taking the focus off how good they are, or how we're going to be next year in terms of winning and losing, and more about the condition of college football right now in terms of NIL.
Do you know if the folks that Hunter and at least have given the representation from Madden of, hey, you've got X amount of days for X amount of money, or we're going down this path? Has that been started?
No, well, if it hasn't, obviously it hasn't been mentioned publicly. We, at our radio station, we do NIL agreements with.
That's right.
With the players. Yeah, we've done that for 4 years now. I've done it in all sports, and we have an agreement. And so all these guys who are doing these NIL agreements, they have contracts. And so, it's just, I think, and I remember one year, the first year we did it, I'm not going to get into the details. I remember we had a kid who got hurt, and his agent said, okay, so you're not going to finish the contract, huh? You're just going to pull it from him. And, the station at the time said, at this point, the money's not that big of a deal in terms of finishing out. So we'll go ahead and do that. But I remember thinking, there's a look here. There's what will people think? And I think most college teams have done that at this point, been very careful not to do anything to show that they're not, on pro player side. And I think this is a fair deal. And again, if it's true that he was paid $500,000, that's the other, item that's been out there. And I think that makes you scratch your head and think, holy mackerel, We are paying. I mean, because that's this thing that's been in the dark. It's been in the shadows. How much these guys are making, contracts and all that. Now all of a sudden, I think it changes the dynamic a little bit when people see, well, okay, got a contract, you make, wow, you guys paid him $500,000 and he was here 4 months and he leaves. And so, yeah, you should get some money back. So again, I just think it pulled back the curtain a little bit finally to say, okay, finally, it's something that says it has a little structure to it. Let's pursue it if that's what the contract says.
This is crazy, Paz. This is just bananas.
Well, I mean, it's not.
It is what it is.
Well, what is bananas is the fact that these people sign these contracts and then expect you to do your contract, but they don't have to do their part of their contract, and that's not going to go on. And he'll be, if he's any good, it'd be easy to get the money back sooner or later.
Right. That's right. Yeah. Again, when you start getting lawyers involved, that's why there's an agreement. That's why. And of course, the other thing is that you've got this third party, Arkansas Edge, and Hunter Yurchek's acting like he's not talking about himself. He's talking about this other party supporting you, like it's not involved.
Like he's not involved at all with it.
That's right. That's right. It's sort of a bizarro world, and that's just the way it works. I think in the coming months, I think you'll see a shift and change and all that. Hopefully, where it's not like it is now. But boy, it's caused a lot of interesting talk. I think that maybe the momentum has swung back a little bit, and Hunter Yurchek all of a sudden has become, all right, finally, because I guess just nobody's done it to this point. You've had some lawsuits, the kid at Florida, you've had that, some others, but this is the first time we've had somebody say, okay, pay us what you owe us, pay it back.
I do wonder, and I've mentioned it on the air, Baz, about all the good talk and the good feeling around Josh Heupel during that event with Nico. And hearing the same thing here in regards to trying to get money back from Madden. I mean, that's all great, but the scoreboard is involved in the fall. And so I wonder how much of that good feeling is either going to stay or go away when you see W's and L's come up this fall.
No, I think that's a very fair point to make. And, I love the guys like John Gruden and who was it, over at Ole Miss, a head coach over at Ole Miss. I'm just blank.
Lane? You thinking Lane Kiffin?
Yeah, Lane Kiffin. Those guys who've been in the NFL who see this as a system that just is not functional, where players can be free agents whenever they want to. They've seen the way the NFL is run, and if we're paying these players until we get to that model where there's value in coming and going, and value has to be paid back, this thing is going to be a mess. But I think it's in that direction. I think in the coming year, I think you're going to see a better position. But yeah, in the meantime, it's just silly ball. It's just. But you're right. What happens? On the field, the fans want wins. But I can tell by this reaction though. You can tell fans have been tired of the players all of a sudden having all the leverage, and you got people out there that are barely paying to be able to get in the game, get in the stadium, and buy a hot dog. And kids coming out of high school are making $1 million a year, have never done anything, and yet that's the way the system is set right now. And I can understand that. I get it.
Until something changes, I'm waiting for a kid to sue the SEC, because during this spring portal, you can't hop SEC school to SEC school. And I'm waiting for someone out there to say, why? Well, why is that? Why can't I do this? You are costing me money, Greg Sankey.
Yeah, the courts have ruled, almost unanimously in the players' favor.
Yeah.
There should be any restriction. You have all the years you can play to your 50.
Yeah.
It's just and so anyway, again, the colleges have to look at it like it's the NFL, and you've got to have rules in place. And I think we'll look back and remember some of these days and go, golly, you remember the craziness that it used to be. And so, it'll be an interesting off season. And just from a football standpoint, you're right. It sure does help if you've got quality back. If you're Tennessee, obviously you pick up a quarterback from UCLA, or you're Arkansas, and I don't think the kid was gonna play much this year anyway, unless Green were to get hurt. And so we'll see. So now Sam Pittman can turn his attention back to winning and losing, and of course that was something that just came out of nowhere. To be honest with you, obviously. So it's been an interesting couple of days.
Well, it was something else that Sam said that kind of perked up my ears, is that portal window potentially of January 2nd. I believe he said until January 12th, somewhere in that neighborhood. And that just that got me interested of, he got really excited about getting no phone calls during Christmas. So,
oh sure, yeah,
but I do like that idea of January 2nd to January 12th. I think that's a decent portal window time.
Yeah, I think the coaches have known all along how to do this thing. That's why it's shocking that it's not been done. It's like they just, there's not the leadership, I guess, in the NCAA, or there's not enough leverage from a conference standpoint to be able to do it. But these coaches, there's no way. It's they get paid a lot more probably than they should. But having to deal with this mess, they've been earning their money because it's just out of control chaos. And every time, again, there's free agency every time you turn around, and you're trying to keep your own players and look for new players. And limiting that thing, getting that thing down to one transfer portal window is going to make a big difference. And again, we'll see if the courts rule against it. But if you don't, again, at some point the court's got to say, listen, this cannot be sustainable unless there's some structure. And the guys in charge need to put their foot down and go, this is the way it's got to be. It just can't. We can't sustain this. Yeah, but those coaches have been working their butts off the last year. It's been nutso.
How much did Talon Green work out this spring for the Hogs?
Yeah, I think he did. I think he did a good job. I think he's very confident. You hear all the good things from Petrino as far as his progression goes, and I think you're back to what you asked earlier. I think you got an improved offensive line, but do you have the weapons around him to make him as good as he can be? But he's going to be a better player. There's no question about it.
Is Russell the tailback? You think? Braylon Russell.
Yeah. If he can stay healthy, he got hurt again the other day, so he's
really
been nicked up his high school and college career. So yeah, he's got the potential. He's a great player, great athlete. He just got to stay healthy and not dinged up on a regular basis.
And of course, basketball season ended with a flourish as well. I imagine there was quite a few. But even that first win at Kentucky, of all places, I was thinking of you guys, of a heck of a place to get your first SEC win there at Rupp.
Hey, that changed everything. I mean, I think that all of a sudden we looked and we saw that DJ Wagner could lead this team. They didn't need Boogie Flan, and all of a sudden, okay. All right. So that changed everything, and it made it go from just a horrible year. We go from the highest of highs, the fan base does. So all of a sudden you're 0-5, and you're thinking, what's happened? So all of a sudden, boom, there's hope back in Razorback basketball land. And it was a great way to finish, and it was fun to watch Cal do his thing.
Yeah, how they lost to Texas Tech, that was snatching defeat from the jaws of victory more than anything.
That's it.
Baz, you're the best. It's gonna be. Are you heading down? Are you heading down to the beach late May?
I'll be down. Oh, you betcha. I'll be down there at some point. Got to get back. Got to get back home and get that white sand down there. Hey, it's always good to talk to you guys.
We'll see you down there.
All right, fellas. Thanks.
Thank you, Baz. That's David Basil. You can follow him on Twitter or X at David Basil. As there is a lot to discuss there with Arkansas trying to get their $500,000 back.
That's insane.
In December.
Well, there's no doubt they'll get it back.
Well, a portion of it.
No, I think they might get it all back. I mean, whatever the
I'm sure there'll be a negotiated settlement, maybe.
Yeah, maybe. I don't know. Why would they want to settle if you have a contract that says this is what you owe? He's probably getting paid from UCLA. They can pay it. Yeah. I mean, I
with or without taxes.
What are you talking about? Taxes has nothing to do with this. If he has a penalty clause in his contract, they'll get the money.
So now 100%. We're just going to find out how good a contract he had.
Right.
How good was his agent?
Yeah.
And how much teeth does that contract have?
Well, here it might have been his uncle. Some of the uncles are agents. It's a nutty deal. But I imagine it was Arkansas's contract, 100%.
Or the collective.
Yeah, the collective say, "Hey, we'll pay you this," and there you go. That's it. And then he signs a contract and has a clawback clause, and it says that so whatever it says, that's what he's going to pay back. I don't know why you would even dream of settling. You only settle with people who can't pay. You don't settle with people that can pay. It's 100%, because they're going to have to hire a lawyer too. That's the other thing. So. Yeah, the person who's going to make the money in this that wasn't supposed to make it, the lawyers.
I knew I should have gone to law school.
Yes. It's never too late.
No.
You're still pursuing your master's, aren't you?
There's a pause on that.
We're not pursuing it. We're just kind of watching it run around.
He's pursuing. He's still pursuing. He's in pursuit of that master's. I guess
I do need to do that, but
not trying to
life
put you
got
on
in the way.
Life is
No,
what happens while you get
no.
making other plans. Yeah.
But I
get it.
did. If I would want to have aspirations to be a head strength coach in the NFL, for some of my colleagues have told me that you need to have a master's degree. So that has given me, has reignited the fire to obviously do that.
What, you're 30?
33.
I mean, baby. I mean, you got so much time in front of you.
Yeah. Well, you know.
I
don't want it to expire.
Man. It only gets more complicated.
I mean, just find out what you want to do and go pursue it.
Well, I've already done that. I only have a handful of hours left, but it was at LSU, and obviously my move from LSU to UL.
Yeah.
Put a pause on that. I finished the semester for that year. I probably have about 9 hours left. It's not a piece of cake.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I'm sitting here saying no big deal. When there are certain hours that are greater than other certain hours, talking about college classes. Anyway.
No doubt. Student athlete.
256-576-4977, the telephone number. Now, one group that actually does have rules and regulations is the National Football League. They have contracts. They have even a draft as well. And that comes up tomorrow. Daniel Jeremiah had quite a bit to say about this particular draft class, including one Jalen Milroe. Give us what you got there, Daniel Jeremiah, on the former Alabama quarterback.
Yeah, it's hard to find a comp for him. I can start there. He is an elite runner. If you just did a cut up and just with the ball in your arm and running, and you stacked him up with a really, really good running back class, just looking at him just as a runner, he would not look out of place at all. Like, he is dynamic. He can make you miss. He can break tackles. Like, there is zero question that he's going to have an impact with the ball under his arm. In terms of the things that to work on with him, he's not consistently connected between his eyes and his feet. That impacts his accuracy. The decision-making, you referenced the turnovers, that's, to me, that comes with playing, that comes with learning. Being in a little different system this year, that didn't go quite as smoothly as you would have hoped. I do think he needs time. I do think he requires patience. And talking to teams, though, if you were to use the phrase with him that's used more than any other, of all the quarterbacks in this draft, that's the lottery ticket. Like, if you want to just take a lottery ticket that you could hit huge on, if it all works out and it all comes together, he's got the highest upside of anybody in this draft, and that goes all the way up to Cam Ward at number 1. But he is a long way from getting there. So it's to me, it's a classic second-round pick. You get your first pick in the bag, you feel comfortable about it. It's a double off the wall, and then now you can stop choking up and you can swing for the fences with Jalen Milroe. So that's how just about everybody universally views him. So we'll see where he ends up going. And in terms of a comparison, the only thing I could say is, like, as a runner, he's as impressive as Lamar Jackson was as a runner coming out. Lamar was light years ahead of him in terms of the passing game at that point in time. And Lamar's continued to just improve each and every year in that department as well.
That is Daniel Jeremiah.
Hard to
on Jalen Milroe.
Yeah, hard to disagree with any of that. Milroe needed somebody to push him harder than he was pushed. And he kind of shied away from competition, in my opinion. I have reasons for that, saying that. But he the guy, elite runner, yeah. You watch some of the things he did, and it was, but he doesn't bring it every Saturday. Now it'll be Sunday. That was obvious that he was unprepared for games. Looked like to me. Or didn't follow the game plan. You could tell by the coaches over there just looking like, what are you doing? I know a little more than probably a lot of people. One of the things is, is a lot of the players didn't like him. I know that 100%. Some of them transferred. I mean, he couldn't pick up this, how they do the silent count.
Mm-hmm.
He never picked that up, didn't like it, caused a lot of bad snaps, quote unquote.
Yeah.
Because, he wasn't ready for the ball because he wouldn't do a silent count. You can't hear yada, yada, yada. So, it's just a lot of things. To me, you have to be totally committed to do great in college. In the NFL, if you're not committed, you're done. And I just don't know if he's playing for all the right reasons. You listen to some of these guys talk, like Jalen Hurts was. If Jalen Hurts could run like him, he'd be the best player ever play the game. But he got better and better and better and better.
Still getting better.
Yeah, still
getting better
because he's working.
Yeah,
this doesn't happen by accident.
And I don't mean it as a shot at Jalen Hurts, by the way.
I don't either. I respect him as much as anybody I've ever respected in my life, because the guy got sat down, and a lot of people would have taken that different.
And stuck around in Tuscaloosa an extra year as well.
And got better.
Yeah.
Tremendously better. Learned. Then went and got better at Oklahoma, in my opinion. And then has gone to Philadelphia and got better. He was the 33rd pick. He was
second round. Yeah.
First pick in the second round. And it's worked out very well for him and even better for the Eagles, in my opinion.
You think?
So I wouldn't draft Jalen Milroe because just what I know. But
but every situation is different.
Truthfully, I hope I'm wrong, and the kid does awesome. And and that might be if he goes to the right place. But I was looking at the ratings of these quarterbacks.
Yeah,
there was only one or two going in the first round.
I'm not a huge believer in Cam Ward.
But they had him going 8th, which I can't believe.
Cam Ward?
I saw the little on the screen. Whoever's ranked him.
I would love the Titans to get Travis Hunter.
Well,
it said first pick overall minus 20,000.
I've got the stuff from ESPN Analytics up here. Where did I put it? Tennessee is expected to take Miami quarterback Cam Ward. ESPN Bet has a minus 10,000 odds at ESPN Bet on the sports book that they are going to pick Cam Ward. But stuff changes.
Whoever had him like
this is ESPN television that they're referencing that we have on in the studio here.
Right.
It's the lead up to the draft, which is coming up tomorrow.
Well, you have Tyler Booker as one of the top prospects at guard. The guy would be drafted. Really, nobody hadn't heard a lot about. There's a guy, Connor Trey Amos from Ole Miss.
Oh yeah.
And but the guy that I would draft is the defensive tackle 55 from Michigan. I think he's a layup.
All right,
that would be my first pick in the draft.
He just texted me. This is our surprise guest here in this segment, as Reese Davis is kind enough to join us here inside the drive. How are you, Reese? You're all live on the air. Are you there, Reese? Let's.
Technology great.
Dog got his phone, ran off.
Can you?
You want to give him a shout? Here, let me yell at him real quick.
Yeah.
Please. Yeah, he just texted me and said, "Hey, I can do something now." But wait a second. Here he's coming. Reese, you got me?
I got you, man.
Gotcha. Reese Davis joins us. We are live on the air right now, just to let you know. Reese, how are you, sir? Boy, you've been a busy fella.
I'm doing well. How are you guys doing?
Doing real well. This is preparation, I would assume, in the draft in particular. What's the last week been like for you with being in the headlines and then reaction there to LC's retirement as well? It's been a very hectic week for you.
It's a lot of things going on, and then I'm sitting in Green Bay with the NFL draft starting tomorrow night. So, we've been in the midst of preparation for that. And then certainly, the news on Lee stepping down is something that, is going to be, I think, an emotional thing for all of us because of what he's meant to the show and what he's meant to us personally. But, we'll celebrate him and it'll be certainly a nostalgic day. And I hesitate to say a great day because, but it will be a fitting day. We'll do justice by him for all that he's done for the show and all that he's done for college football.
He kind of brought, I guess, levity and fun, to say the least, to game day. But was it his idea to do that? Was it the producer's idea? How did that kind of evolve with him putting on the mascot's heads and all that kind of stuff?
No, that was all him. I mean, he used to send guys. I'm told, obviously, it was well before I started, but he would send some of our people on stage and say, "Hey, you see that guy standing back there by the fence? Go get his hat." If he had on a hat, and he didn't do it every week. He would just occasionally say, "Hey, I'm going to put on that guy's hat." When he did his thing at the end, and then at one point, I think the story's been told. Kirk's wife Allison was a cheerleader at Ohio State, and he said to her, "Do you think Allison could help me get the Brutus head?" And so they got they were able to do it, and that was the first headgear in '96, I think, and it just caught on like wildfire. Though we wouldn't have said it in '96, but these days you would say it went viral. So that's pretty much what happened. Yeah.
And then here we go, and I feel like it will be a big celebration. So you want to go ahead and tell us you'll be in Columbus for the Ohio State-Texas game? You want to go ahead and put that out there for all of us to enjoy that announcement, or will it be Alabama-Florida State?
We have that decision. There are a lot of moving parts that maybe people haven't considered that will influence that. So we haven't made a decision yet based on a number of business factors. So we'll once those get straightened out, we'll make a decision as to whether it's one of those games or LSU and Clemson play that day. There are a lot of good places to be.
So, Coach Corso, as far as rooming with Burt Reynolds, and everybody talks about all this different stuff, his thing at game day, but what gets missed in his time as a coach, he was I guess you'd say fairly successful, but he was a great player, and that kind of has, to me, has kind of got overlooked. At one time, he held the FSU interception record.
Yeah, I mean, they called him the Sunshine Scooter. He was a great player. He was an outstanding coach too. Wes, he had jobs where it was extraordinarily tough to win.
Right.
When he went to Indiana after Louisville, which he turned Louisville around and had some success in Indiana. But I mean, just think about the way it was at Indiana. He was close with Woody Hayes, and I think Woody pretty much would give him the list and say, these are the guys, in the Midwest that Bo and I are recruiting. So don't worry with these. And and then move on down the list after that. That sort of puts you a little bit behind to begin with. But he did a great job, and maybe the win totals wouldn't be something that you look at and say that he was highly successful. But when we were at Indiana last year, when they were playing Washington and game day went there for the first time on a Saturday. We've been there on a Thursday night, but it's not quite the same. We went there for that Saturday game, and on Friday they had a luncheon to honor the 1979 Holiday Bowl team, which I knew it at the time. I might be wrong in that. I think it was either Indiana's first bowl victory or it was first one in a long time. But anyway, LC was the coach of that team, and so many of the players and assistant coaches on that came back just to spend time with him and just to tell him what he had meant to their lives. And I don't know that a win-loss total would eclipse, the satisfaction and gratification that I'm sure that he got from having, all of those people back. And there were tears shed and a whole lot of laughs. And it was as it was supposed to be probably an hour luncheon, and we were in there for 2.5 hours. And I was glad that I was able, just to sit in there and listen to the stories and listen to people say the things they wanted to say to LC.
So one thing that I honestly just kind of jumped in my head, Reese, watching the draft coverage right now on ESPN here in our studio and taking a look at Nick Saban. And here we are, that this is a full calendar year with Nick Saban, a employee there for ESPN. What has that year one been like hanging with Nick from your perspective?
He's been sensational. I knew he would be great. I didn't know he would be extraordinary immediately. And he has been. He really understands TV, understands communication. He enjoys being, part of the team. He busts chops. I'm not going to say who, and you guys aren't going to make me, but there's a draft prospect. There's a draft prospect that I've been very high on for 2 years that he is less high on. So he was killing me in the meeting today. He's calling him Reese's guy. So he's busting chops, and I was like, well, far be it for me to disagree with you on this. I understand where my place is. I said, but I will expect some acknowledgement after this guy makes his 5th Pro Bowl in a few years.
Yeah, you should have said that's what you said about Drew Brees.
No,
that's a sore subject.
That is a sore subject because that's not what he wanted. He got told by the medical folks. Yeah, but that's a good one. I'm going to put that in my back pocket.
He's really sensitive about that. I mean, and he'll go into this long diatribe of what really happened, every time you say it.
Yeah.
So how many hours will you be on television over the next, let's say, 4 days, Reese?
All of them. We've got a
new contract gets you.
We've got a 2-hour game day tomorrow from 4 to 6 Central Time, and then the draft starts at 7 on ABC. So it'll be on through the duration of that. 1 hour game day, and then the draft on ABC again Friday night, and then I'll host day 3, which is simulcast on both ABC and ESPN, I believe. And that is the one that won't end. I mean, that's the one that's really fun. And Matt Miller and Field Yates and Mel and Louis Riddick, they do an unbelievable job. But I will say that as much fun as it is, once you get down to about the, 7th compensatory pick in the 6th round on Saturday, you're
ready to go home.
Pick somebody. Just pick somebody. So it's but it's great fun. People put a tremendous amount of work into it. The NFL does just it's really remarkable what an event they've turned it into, and obviously ESPN had a big impact on that from starting to televise it for the first time. But since then, the NFL has turned this into an event that probably trails only the Super Bowl in terms of their events. There's stuff going on, and people in town, and stages are huge, and I think they're expecting 250,000 people or more. Because look, this is not it's a beautiful place and it's a great football town, but this is not a metropolis like Detroit last year, or like Nashville was a few years ago, where there's a huge population that lives here, and there are people who are traveling here. Boy, I met a family on the plane last night, a man and his 2 kids. They were just coming up for the draft from Baltimore. And
Are
it
they
was
staying with you now. There's not a lot of places to stay. Where's everybody staying?
Yeah, what, Milwaukee?
No. I'm right here in Green Bay in a beautiful. It's a residence inn, but it's new and it's clean. People are nice. I'm good. It's just nice. Yeah.
Finally, Reese, what was it like during that wooing process? I'll call it there with Fox. And I mean, tell me a little bit about that process from your perspective, and ultimately staying with ESPN.
I'm not going to. I don't think it would be right to go into a lot of detail about that, but I'll just say generally that is. Certainly gratifying when and if you get presented with options in your career, and the people that I may or may not have discussed things with, during the time are all pros, do an unbelievable job, and just titans of the industry. And so it's it's good to talk to people, but
good to be wanted, isn't it?
It's flattering. When
long way from Muscle Shoals.
Yeah, when someone's interested, and I'm really happy to to be continuing on, because this is the relationships, the camaraderie, the time that you've put in, what you've invested from a career standpoint into game day particularly, but really everything. And really, I should say college football particularly, and game day over the last decade. So it's the right place for me, and I'm very grateful to continue on with great people, tremendous place to work, and what I think is the best show in television. So I'm excited about continuing on.
So going back kind of to the draft, Reese, who do you think? Cam Ward, is he going to the Titans? Will the Titans keep their pick, and who they're going to draft?
Yeah, they're good. They're going to take Cam Ward. They've had a lot of people really interested in trading, and they up to this point have shown zero, and I mean zero inclination to trade the picks. They think he's their guy, and they're quarterback hungry because they've struggled in that area for the last few years. If memory serves, and you guys are close to there, so you probably know, but I believe, aren't they building a new stadium?
Yeah,
and
that's right.
So they need a centerpiece, and they need some excitement. I do, and while I do like Cam, I think he's a really good player. I do think it's fair to say that I think the guys last year, several of them, in my judgment, were better prospects. But you don't get to pick and choose when that happens, and it doesn't mean that he won't be better than all of them. Maybe he will be.
Yeah.
But I think it's a foregone conclusion, and I actually think it's the right pick in my judgment for that franchise at this time. There are other teams in other situations that I'd probably say you should take Travis Hunter, but in their situation, if you don't have a quarterback, you don't have a chance, and you might as well start building around the guy that they believe that will be their cornerstone, much as the Patriots are doing around Drake May. They weren't very good either last year, and they went ahead and got him, and they're trying to build around him.
Well, we found out who Reese's guy is right there. That's Cam Ward. Yeah.
It's not. No, that's not it. That's absolutely wrong.
I was thinking the same thing, Steve. I wasn't going to say it though.
No, it's not even. You're not even close.
Okay.
You're not even. It's someone that will be later on Thursday night, and I guess possibly Friday, but most likely Thursday.
Fair enough. I'm looking forward to the Drew Brees reference as well, watching over the next 3 days.
We'll be watching all that.
Yeah, we'll be watching, Brees.
That depends on if I need to, snap him back in line or something. I'm not just going to. You don't just go up and bring out the big weapon, at the same old time. That might not show up until week 6 in Austin or something like that.
But we'll be
look forward to hearing it.
We'll be watching. Thank you so much, Reese.
Appreciate it, too, guys.
That's Reese Davis.
Friends at Woody Anderson Ford. Bobby White and his team take great pride in their service department, and you can see it the moment you walk into those beautiful new service lanes. And just like a championship team, they all work together to make sure your experience is second to none, whether you drive a Ford or not. Also, check out the gold certified pre-owned inventory at Woody Anderson Ford for great deals every day. Stop by and see them at Jordan and Sparkman or at Woody Anderson of Madison on Hughes Road, or visit WoodyAndersonFord.com. Never miss 1 second of Charger baseball with the Charger Zone.
Davidson's going to send this one into the gap. J.C. Wilburn get to it. He dives and dives.
Only on 97.7 ESPN.com and the 97.7 ESPN The Zone app. WCZN, Union Grove, Huntsville, Alabama. 97.7 ESPN The Zone.
Is Sports Center.
Hi, Nick DeLuca. NBA playoff action about to get rolling tonight. Game 2, Celtics and Magic. Boston will be without star Jason Tatum. 6-time All-Star will miss his first career playoff game with a bone bruise in his wrist. Suffered the injury in the Celtics' Game 1 win back on Sunday. Tatum had played in all 114 Celtic playoff games in his 8 seasons, leads Boston in points, assists, and rebounds. Celtics were 53-19 with him in the lineup and 8-2 without him this season. Both of those losses were against the Magic. Tip-off in a few minutes. Boston minus 10.5 on ESPN Bet. Afternoon baseball, the Mets make it 7 straight with a walk-off win.
The 1-0. Marte broken bat flare. Shallow center. Ducks it for a hit. Here comes Alonso. The throw from Stevenson on the way. Not in time. Alonso slides in safely. Up Marte Parte. RBI single. Walk-off win in the 10th. 4-3 Mets win. They sweep the homestand. A 7-game winning streak. Keith Radd on 880 ESPN New York. Mets have 2 6+ game winning streaks this year already on the best record in baseball. NHL Game 2, Capitals and Canadiens about to get underway. Caps took Game 1 in OT thanks to Alex Ovechkin. He scored twice in the series opener. The game on ESPN TV. Washington minus 180 on the money line on ESPN Bet.
Hey, it's your resident Super Bowl champ, Chris Candy, coming up Thursday. It's draft day, and I'll tell you exactly what teams should do if they want to win in 2025. It's Unsportsmanlike, weekday mornings at 6, right here on ESPN Radio, ESPN2, and ESPNU.
'97.7 ESPN The Zone. Welcome to The Drive with Wes Neighbors and Steve Moulton. Call into the Neighbors Wealth Management Hotline, 256-576-4977.
That's how I roll. And I'm not going to drink and drive anymore.
That's 256-576-4977. Now, here's Wes and Steve.
Hour number 2 rolls along. A filled up first hour there with David Basil and Reese Davis. Reese getting ready to don the airwaves really over the next 72 hours. You're going to see a lot of Reese Davis.
You're all out.
Yeah, Connor Neighbors, Wes Neighbors, Steve Moulton here with you. That's right. Do we have our guest on the line? T-Bob Abear? Are you there, sir?
Yo, Steve, what's up? Oh, dude, I just came out from doing a show in my room, and
what are you doing with Jim Rome? Tell me what you're doing with Jim Rome?
I'm on. So after his 3-hour radio show, he has a show called The After Hour. It's on the Jim Rome Fast Channel.
Okay.
It's on like Prime, DirecTV, all that. So you just Google Jim Rome Fast Channel, you can find it. So I just get done doing that. So I come out of the room, and my dog has chewed up one of my child's poop diapers.
Oh.
And the detritus is everywhere, and it's on a carpet.
So what's the rule about that?
Very
How long does it?
I hope you're happy. He looks so content too. He looks like Big West after he eats a burger. He's about to fall asleep. Man.
Hey, let me ask you a question. What is the rule on when you're gonna let that dog lick you next?
Oh,
you thought that through?
He's a good pup, man. I love him right now. You know, that's my boy. That's my boy right there, son. I got it. Wait, is Connor here?
Oh yeah,
Bonesaw right here.
Yo,
what's up, T-Bob?
Bonesaw, what is up, brother? What's going on, man?
Spring
Doing
break.
well.
Oh yeah,
hanging out. How we feeling, dude?
Great. How are you?
I can't believe you're sitting next to that traitorous ass Alabama hoe of a father.
I'm gonna tell you something, T-Bob. One of the best nights of my life, truthfully. So I'm in Destin, Florida, watching the Alabama LSU game, and my wife has 5 or 6 of our friends, but there were mostly ladies, and then 2 other family members, and so we're all sitting there, we're watching the game. And everybody's about to go to bed. I said, we have to watch Whiskey and Wine.
Yeah.
And they go, what's that?
Whiskey and Wine?
What's that? Because
Yeah.
they're all tired. You know, we watched the Ole Miss Georgia game earlier.
Yeah.
You know, watching Wesley and them. And then
I would play some of it right now, but I can't.
Yeah. And so I turned that on. I said, "That's one of me and Connor's good friends right there." And all I'll say is they were not disappointed. First of all, they were in shock. They were like, "Can you say that?"
Yeah. I mean, look, man.
What a magical
to be
time.
clear, for anybody that doesn't know, that is a very X-rated show. I'm not saying R-rated. I'm talking NC-17. We're gonna give a little taste of it. I'm not gonna go full whiskey and wine tomorrow, but we're doing a draft party at that same bar tomorrow night, and I'll let y'all in on a little secret. I'm thinking about doing a bit live, though I think it might be too extreme and get us banned off of YouTube. But I'm thinking about fake cutting off my testicles to break the curse of Derek Carr over the New Orleans Saints. Because last year I said I would castrate myself if Carr didn't finish in the top 12 of QBR, which he did, but I hate him still now, and I want him gone. And the only way to do that is probably to cut off my nuts live on a YouTube stream that, a couple hundred people are watching.
See it. Now I know what I'm watching tomorrow night.
Yeah.
I mean.
So, do your numbers go up
When the knife comes out or what?
At this point, that is the most watched thing that we do.
Wow.
Like when during the Super Bowl week, when people are here from all over the country, that was the thing that I got stopped and asked about more than any other. Like I've heard these Philly radio guys. They're like, "Oh my God, dude, what's going on?" People just love. The thing is, man, people like dirty jokes. I'll say it. I was talking to my mom about this last week, and I was good, man. I go to church every Sunday. I love God. I pray for my kids every night. I say,
You need to go.
About that. Gratitude, forgiveness, and treating others the correct way. Okay, I believe that in my heart, but I also believe God invented humor. And so. And sometimes you gotta have some fun. And we were raised with this idea that you can, and I get it because in polite society, you do have to respect the wishes of others. But if it's something online that you are seeking out, if you're there, that's on you.
Yeah.
Don't be getting offended. Let's have some fun.
We weren't offended. I mean, I was looking at the people listening to it just to looking at their reaction. And they all look like fly catchers. Their mouth was wild. All right. But it was kind of like you couldn't look away.
It's I know, and the worst part is I truly am just the dancing clown, because everybody always says "Oh, dude, I love it even more after the loss."
Yeah, that's what I was going to ask you. Are your numbers better after a loss versus a win?
They have to be.
Yeah. Unless it's the Alabama win, if it's a monumental win.
Yeah.
But no, the loss numbers are always higher. If it's a comfortable win, it's a harder show to do.
I mean, I'm fully expecting. It was after. I mean, how many years in a row has LSU lost their first game in that first
5 years now?
How many?
5 years.
5 years. Yeah.
What, 2019? 2019 is the last week 1 win?
Yes.
Yeah.
The 2019 team truly flew too close to the sun. I mean, they offended the football gods, and we are now still. And guess what, guys? I don't think they're going to win this one.
No, this is a tough one.
They're on the road at Clemson, new online, facing a front seven with 2 All-Americans, Cade Klubnik and Garrett Nussmeier. Actually, awesome matchup there. Those might be the best 2 returning quarterbacks in the country, potentially. But they have good receivers. This is tough. They're probably going to lose.
So, T-Bob, you're preparing for a great show.
Yeah, exactly. I'm locked in. I'm locked in. I'm going to be. I will have all of my. The only thing that makes me mad is after the Arkansas game, I had sex with an inflatable pig, and I had other bits planned, but we just kept losing, and you can't do those bits when you lose. I was going to have a yell leader in my lap, one of my friends, and I was going to spank him and make me get drinks and stuff, but then A&M beat us. Sad. That's what my people were not.
Did we dump that? Did we dump that?
My people were denied.
No, we didn't dump that. Okay. All right. That's the first time we've had that sentence said on this station.
I'm sorry.
No.
I was doubled over in this week. I missed the button.
Oh God!
So we've gotten anyway for those of you scoring at home, we've had cutting off your nuts, and now sex with an inflatable pig.
Oh my God!
Yeah.
And he's working with Jim Rome as well, ladies and gentlemen. So
we'll fix it.
Woo pig. I'm just I've been teaching the Jim. Well, there, look, he knows. He got a little offended when he heard me say this on one of my podcasts that I've been teaching him the ways of being a degenerate. Basically saying that he was a degenerate long before I was. Jim's got a little more grease than he gets credit for.
Yeah,
I appreciate it.
Yeah. He's not right very much.
Now you're thinking of Colin Cowherd, maybe.
That's even worse.
Here's the thing, though, dude. It ain't about being right.
Well, I know that.
It's about being entertaining.
Yeah.
You know? Who gives a damn? Right, wrong, or indifferent? Just have people tune in. Doesn't matter. Now, you know, you there are pitfalls to success. Look at what our guy Shannon Sharp's going through right now.
Yep.
You can be very entertaining, but that still doesn't mean you should have sex with these 20-year-old OnlyFans girls. That's just bad idea. Shannon's 56. That man needs to get him a woman who's going to love him, who can lay his head on, who's going to cook for him. Look, you run around with these young trifluent, that's what's going to end up happening to you, man. Sad.
Back to the football field.
Yeah.
This spring in particular has been harder to get tangible information for obvious reasons. But is there anything you learned out of this spring out of LSU for Coach Kelly?
No. This has been the most boring LSU offseason I have ever covered, which in some ways I'm sure is kind of
nice,
desirable, because it means that it's been relatively drama-free. Like, there hasn't been a lot of scandal and whatnot.
Yeah.
But no, it's
what, Barry and Brown was a significant pickup for LSU.
I would say this. Look, they had a very good portal season. Unfortunately, see, my problem is I can't go to any of the practice because they change practices when I'm on air in the morning. So, like, I really don't have any great idea of how they look. I've read good things, but everything's good in spring, right?
Of course it is.
Flowers that bloom in the spring, look in the fall.
Look, I know this. They've had 3 top 10 recruiting classes in a row.
That's right.
They have the #1 transfer portal. They one of the top returning quarterbacks in the country. They have very good weapons.
Yeah.
They have that defensive staff that I trust and believe in back for a second year. You lose Bo Davis, hurts, but you get Kyle Williams. That's kind of an exciting pickup, especially if you're an LSU guy. That's one of the all-time legends there.
So where did Bo Davis go?
And
to the Saints.
And so
I
he went to
didn't
the
know that.
Saints.
Wow, I didn't know that.
You know, it'd be your own people.
Yeah.
But I guess the point of all this is, like, this is a team that should be very good. This is a team that should make the playoffs. If this team does not make the playoffs, then I will never again expect Brian Kelly to make the playoffs.
So let me ask you
If they don't
this.
make it here.
One of the I thought one of the best players you picked up was a quarterback from Mississippi State.
Yeah.
How's he? Have you heard of anything? Yeah, because let me tell you this: Nussmeier turns the ball over too much. I mean, he does look great for a lot of the
12
games.
picks last year. 12 picks.
Yeah, and he had 2 of them called back that were touch pick sixes that were called back just in the South Carolina game.
You know, it's the first year starting, bro. You know, like, I'm gonna allow you don't allow
12 picks is okay
for growth there.
No, I'm just saying, to me, if he takes care of the ball, he'll be the player that you think he'd be. But so far, to me, he has to prove it to be a great player. You can't turn. You know what I'm saying?
I think he will.
Yeah,
I think he will.
He flashes greatness. That's no doubt.
Yeah, I think you're going to see that. I think you're going to see that greatness out of him. I would bet on Garrett Nussmeier if I were a betting man.
Is Wilt Weeks still on the team?
Yes.
Whit Weeks. Yeah.
Whit Weeks.
Actually,
Yes.
There are 3 Weeks brothers.
Yeah.
on
Is
the
it
team
really?
now.
Wow, I didn't know
Yeah.
that.
West is back because he got hurt last year. Whit is back, and then their little brother came from high school as well. I mean, really just a ton of psycho white boys. Which, granted, you can have too many. Bonesaw can speak to this, given that he was one of the all-time great psycho white boys.
Come on.
You got to be careful with too many of them, you know? The right amount goes a long way. But they also got Jack Pyburn from Florida, who seems very thrown off. So I'm a little worried about maybe a bit too many in the fold, but I guess we'll only be able to tell that more over time.
Are you excited about the weapons that Nussmeier has?
Yeah, absolutely, dude. Absolutely. I mean, who you return, and if you look at how Chris Hilton finished that season out, if Chris Hilton is healthy, I think LSU's like legitimately 1, maybe even 2 wins better. If he plays like he did at the end of the year. Aaron Anderson was your leading receiver last year. Here's back. You had Nick Anderson, the former, the giant, the freshman All-American from Oklahoma. He's back in the fold. It's you had Barry and Brown from Kentucky, a guy who's the best kick returner, and I think he has the most touchdowns like SEC history. So and then of course Caden Durham, who broke out as a freshman at running back.
Right.
The only question offensively is you're replacing a lot of that offensive line.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't think they're going to be as good, but I am being a little bullish on the boys, given that they had a good bowl game. And that has been one of the things I've heard out of spring is that those young tackles, Tyree Adams and Weston Davis, both who were big 5-star recruits, that they had very good springs and they look like they're ready to take over for Will Campbell and
That's
Henry
good,
Jones.
riding the
Which
momentum.
if they actually are, that's massive.
Yeah, it has to be, especially for protection, obviously running the ball. I mean, having a freshman running back take most of the workload is tough.
Here's the deal, though, Bonesaw. You know this better than anybody, Connor. Like, that team sucked at running the ball last year. Best pass blocking O-line I've ever seen, garbage-ass run blockers. Like, I will actually take a bit more pressure and a bit more sacks if it means you can alleviate some of the problems that Garrett Nussmeier had to face simply because
well, if you run the ball,
they couldn't run the ball. Dude, on 3rd and short, you felt like you were at a disadvantage. You know how sad that is?
Yeah. Right. Yeah.
Like on 3rd and short, you wouldn't run it. You do these like very obvious jet motion screen pass. It was a sad state of affairs.
No doubt.
So
Gotta have the trench warfare
hoping
back. Gotta get that mentality back up front.
Exactly, dude. And the thing is, it's like, okay, you talk about Garrett throwing all those picks. I think that's a great way to alleviate some of that. Not make him have to be Superman every time.
Yeah,
Like,
no doubt. Give him weapons.
Off of him.
Play action.
Yeah. Yes.
Get a fullback in on 3rd and short. Obviously, that's a mistake.
Fullback, exactly. Now you sound like Hester. I think your time in the sun is done. Unfortunately, I think unless you go to North Dakota State, unless you're a Bison, I think you are. You know what? Maybe in 10,000 years they'll bring you back like they did that dire wolf. When it all hits the fan and we get nuked out or whatnot, you'll the World War IV starts, 3 starts. You'll get killed, but you'll get preserved. At least a piece of you will in the volcanic rubble, and then eventually somebody will bring you back to life just to play fullback in some future football league. It's gonna be awesome.
You just described the 5th element.
How good of a coach is Brian Kelly? I mean, rank him in between. Gosh, what? I'm just thinking of LSU coaches right off the top of my head. Where would Brian Kelly right now in his LSU tenure rank among other LSU coaches?
Well, it's a little tricky because obviously LSU's last 3 coaches have won natties, right? And that's what we judge everything on.
Correct.
So you're not going to put them ahead of them. But objectively, he's had a more consistent time than some of those guys did at the beginning of their tenures. Like, so Coach Miles had the great 07 year. He started off great, but then in 08, what was it, 8-5, 3-5 in the SEC. Like, Brian Kelly's he's avoided the disastrous year. He just also has gotten a little too close, been a little too disappointing, like fallen just short of the great year. And the problem that happens literally is the opening game.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because that's what throws all the math off when you talk about them getting considered for the playoffs, making SEC champions, whatnot. So it's like,
make an extra point, brother.
because like they've been 6-2 in the SEC. I want to say 2 of the 3 years.
Yeah, the 5-3 last year.
History. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. If you look at LSU history, when you go 6-2, you almost always end up with a 10-2 regular season.
Yeah. So what's the problem?
So it's these out of conference opening season losses.
But you
it's throwing off all the math.
What's the problem? What's the problem? Because I've watched those games, T-Bob. It doesn't look like LSU's ready to play.
That's insane to me.
Yeah.
Ever. It's terrible. It's embarrassing.
Yeah, and then they make a comeback, and at the end, they just can't quite get it done. But it's like self-inflicted wounds too, like the big press conference last year. It's all these penalties they're getting, and it's like lack of discipline to me. That's it's what I said about last year's Alabama
I feel
team.
like it's a lack of like understanding what they have. Like they just like they make these extreme personnel changes immediately after the first game, and it's like, what are you doing in the evaluation period in all of camp that you don't understand what you're good at or who your best players are?
Are they
have a better understanding?
Do you know anybody that goes to practice?
What's that?
Excuse me, I'm sorry. Do you know anybody that goes to practice? Because what are they doing in practice?
I mean, I've been to their practices before. They're very, efficiently and professionally run. It's not like I'm sitting there like, oh, these are too soft, or oh, they don't do this or don't do that. I don't think there's anything like glaring like that. Just for some reason, they appear to have a kind of fundamental problem when it comes to understanding what they have.
I think this
and how to best employ it.
This is just a like a symptom of the portal years, and like how there's for this team in particular, just because I know and T-Bob, that tradition has kind of like fallen off to the wayside, and that guys aren't as immersed in the program as they have been in the past, because unfortunately for the college football fan.
You telling me the 18 jersey's not as big today as it was even 5 years ago?
I don't know, because I'm not there for that, but I'm just saying in general, like it doesn't seem to me, and this is all across the board, but especially when I watch LSU games, that like guys aren't like they don't have the type of intensity that I would have liked to see as a former player.
This is something that I think all of us old heads feel, that is kind of hard to really quantify, and it speaks to the professionalization of the sport. Don't get me wrong, like I'm happy that guys are getting paid. It's way past time that guys needed to be paid. I mean, obviously, right, if you're a free market capitalist, like the market is telling you they want to pay, they want to give this money, but it does lead to it being professionalized. Whereas back in the day, we're playing with a real hate in our heart. Now, there's some of that, but it's still like sort of an honor amongst thieves type deal, right?
Yeah.
When a guy transferred in our day, you never talked to that dude again. I remember Phelan Jones transferred to Alabama. I never spoke another word to him. We were in the same signing class. Guy transfers now, you're like, yeah, I get it. That could be me.
No, I understand that. Well, I guess that.
I mean, go look at the freaking. This is the dumbest thing, but it is what bugs me more than anything. The parking lots. Go look at the parking lot compared to when we were there. Like now, granted, Alabama, y'all always had Chargers, but you didn't have like Lambos and freaking.
Yeah.
Well,
Bentleys.
I mean.
And what you see now.
I understand what you're saying. I get it too. I just think that at some point, you're still a gladiator, and you're in the Coliseum. Like, hey, you've got 15 pounds of pads on, and the guy across from you is either going to kick your butt or you're going to kick his. Like, let's calculate that.
And look, that is still football, and it's still there. And so, like Will Campbell's still. Trying to kick ass and beat the guy in front of him. I'm not saying that that's like completely gone, but you mentioned the intensity, and again, it might just be old person whinging. I too feel a bit of that lack of intensity.
Yeah. It seems like every decision now is a business decision.
Yeah.
Well, some of the decisions don't make any sense,
including inflatable pigs.
That might be the best you've ever done right there.
Well, that did make sense though, because it's just beat Arkansas.
Whooping soon.
Oh God.
Goodness. So what time does the castration happen tomorrow night there for you, T-Bob?
I'm not sure if I'm going to do that bit. I'm not sure. I think it would be funny. I also think it could be crossing a potential line on YouTube.
Oh,
you
think there's a line in YouTube?
Yeah.
Cross the line on the drive.
Like, I want to do like fake blood and like Italian sausage, like squeeze.
This can absolutely happen.
Yeah, but I don't know if that's.
No, let me give you some advice. Yeah. So, is it this called Whiskey and Wine? Because I'm going to watch it.
No. This is not going to be nearly as crazy. I don't want to spoil too much because this is going to be the entire station is going to be there, like everybody who works on air, and it'll start at 7 when the draft starts. And yeah, we'll be doing our thing, hanging out, drinking, and whatnot. But yes, it will not be the complete.
I'm going to call Moscona later on tonight. This needs to happen.
How do I find it, T-Ball?
YouTube.com/1045 ESPN.
Okay.
T-Bob, you are always welcome. It's always fun to get you in. And I never know what direction we're going in, but it's always entertaining, sir.
Hell yeah, guys. It is always fun. Love y'all. Connor, great hearing from you, brother.
Yes, sir.
Hope all is
Thank
well,
you.
man.
You too. Can't wait to see you again.
Wes, you suck. I don't know what to do.
Go clean up that. Go
Steve,
clean up
you're
after that
awesome.
dog.
Yeah,
go clean up after that
you
dog.
right in the mouth right
Figure
now.
out how to do that. It's just eating into the carpet this entire time.
Thank you, T-Bob.
All right, T.
All right, later, guys.
Yeah,
I don't know.
You got to unpack it it takes you a while.
What happened? What just happened?
Yeah, you got to watch Whiskey and Wine.
Oh
And
my-
you when you watch it,
I don't think I'm tall enough to ride this ride.
I will say that when LSU beat Alabama in 2019
Yep.
and his monologue of like, it's over.
Yeah.
I watched that every day for a month.
Oh, did you really?
Oh, yeah. Because I felt that.
So for those that, and he mentioned Whiskey and Wine, it was a Song of Purple and Gold back in 2019. Song of Purple and Gold, I'm telling you, as entertaining as Whiskey and Wine was, Song of Purple and Gold, just so much better. And I know it was a very magical year there in 2019, but just the production value in it as well. I think it's still on YouTube, but a Song of Purple and Gold back in the day, that was some high quality stuff there from the fine folks at 104.5 there, ESPN in Baton Rouge. I might have to call Moscona and alert him on what T-Bob's thinking.
Yeah, he needs a spotter. They need to have an intern watching.
They're getting all hands on deck tomorrow night.
Yeah, intern needs to become a paid intern after tomorrow.
All right, final 30 minutes with Bonesaw coming up after our first time out here in hour number 2. We'll be right back.
You're listening to The Drive with Wes Neighbors and Steve Moulton on 97.7 ESPN The Zone.
The company is Eagle Masonry and Insulation, but did you know they're also Eagle Landscaping and Dirt Work? Eagle can take care of all your landscaping needs, including irrigation, sod work, and planting, both plants and trees. On the dirt work side, Eagle can grade and build your pads, haul dirt in or out, and even do erosion control. Philip Love and his team can do it all for you. The website is the same, insulatewitheagle.com, as is the phone number, 256-755-1556. Give them a call and see what Eagle can do for you. Eagle saves you time. Eagle saves you money.
Hey folks, this is Arthur Seaton, managing partner at University Kia, proudly saying roll tide and war eagle. Stop into University Kia today and shop one of the area's largest selection of new Kias, including Fortes, Seltos, Telluride, and Popular Carnival, and fully electric EV6. View all the great specials at universitykia.com and get pre-approved in minutes so you can drive home your new Kia you really want, because we want to see you in a University Kia.
Our customers want best-in-class solutions. That's why we've recently added many new vendors like Zebra barcode printers. Our next level team has added premier automation solutions. We're not here to sell you just one product, and we love helping you find the right solution for your specific needs. That's what doing the right thing is all about, and that's why our customers have come back for over 50 years.
Rocket City, for air that's cool and clean, contact Sensa Green Heating, Cooling, and Insulation. Get HVAC smart with Professor Green and the expert team at sensagreen.com. Now offering up to $1,500 off any new Bryant system. Whatever it takes, Sensa Green has Huntsville covered. Remember, folks, with innovative, sensible green solutions, contact Sensa Green Heating, Cooling, and Insulation.
SportsMed is the official team physicians of the Rocket City Trash Pandas. And if the pros trust SportsMed, you can too. SportsMed provides every service you might need for complete orthopedic care, specializing in orthopedic surgery, sports medicine, joint replacement, spine surgery, neurosurgery, and podiatry. And they offer their own brace shop, in-house full-body MRI, physical therapy, walk-in clinic, and so much more. 4 locations and on the web at sportsmedalabama.com.
Would you call a plumber for a root canal? The same goes for selling your timberland or farm. Choose someone who understands your property and can help you on the front end so you can capitalize on the back end. I am Bo Butler with Southland Realty and Auction. As a guide, I have put many hunters in position to take a shot. It's time for you to take your shot. Let's talk about putting you in position to sell your property. Call me at 256-609-0512. Remember, Bo knows land.
Where's the best place for sports? What about the best place for wings? If you answered Jefferson's for both, you're right. Jefferson's is also a great place for value. Every Monday, kids eat free with the purchase of an adult meal, and teachers bring your teacher ID and you eat free every first Tuesday of the month up to $15. At Newmarket, Jefferson's will be opening a new location at 2190 County Road 65 very soon. Jefferson's, best place for sports, best place for wings. Hampton Cove and soon in Newmarket.
There's the phone and no one to answer.
256-576-4977.
And as a result, we got many, many phone calls and letters.
Give us a call on the Neighbors Wealth Management Hotline today. 97.7 ESPN, The Zone.
Back here with you on the drive, along with Wes and Connor Neighbors. Steve Moulton back here with you. Brian Temple back behind the glass. I did pull up in the break one of T-Bob's rants that I edited. You want to
about 20 seconds?
It's minute 44.
Yeah, but it was originally 3.5 minutes.
Probably. This is post Bama 2024. So this is post LSU Alabama last year.
I'm so fucking sick of this shit, dude. All Louisiana, everybody just wants us to keep accepting being shitty, you know? Why the fuck are you mad? Why are you mad you're last? Why are you mad? Y'all just be happy. You have this, you have that. Well, what do we got? We have sports, okay? We have sports. That's all we got tonight. Okay? So we're on.
And we get to watch the Saints.
We're on. Look, I got the Saints who couldn't find their way out of the street corner if they had a GPS. I got the LSU Tigers who just got their slammed in by their arch rivals like they were in a wheelchair. I got the Pelicans who don't know how to keep anybody healthy for 5 games.
Wow.
If it could save their life. What the is going on? like Jay Johnson. Please,
Kim Mulkey.
please, Jay, Kim, Matt McMahon, we need you. We need you now. Help me, Obi-Wan. You're my only hope, because otherwise I'm going to into oblivion. I'm going to stick my fingers so hard up my own that I end up with a brain aneurysm. I think I'm about to have a heart attack, dude.
That's why I gave you you did chug 2 doubles mezcals. Like, that was an awful lot of alcohol
I'm
into
just
your
so
system.
sick. I'm just so disgusted by tonight, dude.
I know. You should be. We all are. We're all very disgusted by tonight.
Okay, my bad. I'll come back.
No, I don't want you. I want you. You're good. You're good. You're good.
After the loss.
Yeah, no doubt.
Yeah.
That would be T-Bob right there. Yeah, that's
yeah.
I need to keep that much more handy with me.
That was so funny.
I'm just telling you, it is a different deal there with whiskey and wine. 256-576-4977, the telephone number. So the draft begins tomorrow. Connor, I wanted you to go through kind of your training, going through that process and getting a cup of coffee with the Titans. What was that experience like for you?
It was an incredible experience, and it actually set me up for segueing into the actual career that I wanted to take. It opened my eyes a lot to, how important it is to perfect your craft. But if you want to be in the top 1% of in any field, the type of preparation that you need to take for. Obviously, I didn't go to NFL Combine. There was a possibility that at one point I might have gotten an invite. Yeah, I believe what my agent told me at the time. Who knows? But I did go to the Senior Bowl, which was an incredible opportunity, and then
very memorable experience down there.
Yeah, absolutely. And then training for 4 months, doing my pro day, and then being able to go undrafted free agency to the Titans and actually sign an NFL contract was a dream come true. But at some point, football is gonna decide when you're done. Only a select few get to decide when they're done with football, and it put me in a kind of a crossroads in my life. Do I want to try to keep pursuing this, or do I want to live my life? And I kind of chose right in the middle.
Mm-hmm.
So just in case, if I did have an opportunity to play again, I was ready. And if I didn't, I was ready. And
Did you ever have a thought on AAF back in the day, or even
Canada?
There was an opportunity. Yeah, Canada. I thought about maybe going up to Canada. Possibly at linebacker. There was an opportunity for that. I didn't want to leave, my family behind. Yeah. I mean, if I really truly thought that I'd be able to play and it would be profitable at that time in my life, then yeah, I would have done it.
Canada doesn't pay very well. A, B, it's a long way.
It's a long season too.
And C, you're stuck. You can't. It's not like you go to Canada, you're back to the NFL. You when you sign a contract with them, it's honored by the NFL.
Wow.
So they can't steal you.
Yeah. So
it was like a 3-year deal.
Yeah, it was crazy.
Yeah, and it's not like he'd been better off trying out again, but then he had other surgeries on his arm.
So it just depends. But now the leagues that they have now, if I would definitely would have done that. I mean, they get paid. Relatively well. It's a shorter season. Mm-hmm. You can segue into the NFL season if you catch lightning in a bottle. There is, obviously you can stay in the States, and it's becoming more competitive. It's on TV now.
Yeah.
I had a couple teammates that, bounced around, did that, but I got a couple guys that got hurt, and I've been injury prone, no health insurance. I'm not going to take that risk.
Exactly.
So you got the rest of your life to figure it out. And, but it's an interesting experience because you can't always believe the hype. I mean, obviously, everyone that's in your corner is in your corner for a reason, and they obviously want to tell you what you want to hear, and maybe give you low doses of medicine because they don't want to crush you. But at the same time, it's like, hey, like you got to be realistic in your approach, and you got to know what's a real outcome. And then as long as you have a chance, whether you've been drafted, undrafted, free agent, mini camp guy, as long as you have a chance, if you're good, you'll stay. You got to have an insane amount of luck, but luck is when preparation meets opportunity, and you just got to take advantage of the opportunity that's given. And that's either in the film room or maybe one play in a walkthrough or not even in a team setting that you'll get. And if in the NFL it's a game of inches, and you got to know exactly how it operates. So you just got to be ready.
So let's dive into, to college football. How much is college football? Is there any benefit that you're seeing on NIL helping out the game, the quality on the field that you are seeing, Connor Neighbors?
Yeah, we've gotten a lot of transfers through NIL, obviously, and the avenues that we have to actually pay players. Yeah, we have elevated in our area, especially with the coaching staffs that we have. But you got to do your homework. It's the same thing with every NFL player or organization is doing their homework on everyone, and they know everything about everybody. I sit in those meetings 3 times a week in the season and I sit with every NFL team. I sit with multiple NFL scouts, and it's tiered, and then they come back and cross-check. You have to do the same thing as a college program, and that's why they're hiring general managers for college football programs now.
Yeah.
You have to do your homework. You have to cross-check what other people's references, because if you miss on talent, obviously you need to go back to the drawing board and figure out what you did wrong and reevaluate your evaluation process. But if you miss on character, the only thing that's more contagious than a positive attitude is a negative attitude. And you don't want to have culture killers in the locker room or politicians in the locker room, because that is the fastest way to kill your culture and your team. So you got to make, like, the NIL and all that stuff is great. Like T-Bob mentioned it, if you're a free capitalist, whatever he said, we need to pay the guys, sure. But there needs to be rules and regulations in place for the governing body, and then the coaching staffs and the organizations that are on the other side of this that are helping provide the service. They need to make sure that they are on their P's and Q's and running their program legitimately in the right way, so you have the right type of people in the building. And as long as you have that and you develop these guys, the product on the field is going to get drastically better, because when more money is involved, everyone's trying to find an edge. And I've gotten a new stadium. We have
this is Louisiana University. Yeah.
New stadium, new funding for players, new funding for projects that we have. I got a new weight room floor.
What color's the floor?
It's red.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, it is.
It's gonna look great. It's gonna pop.
Yeah, it is.
Great floor. There's a backstory to that. I'm not going to get into detail, but
I'm good with a red floor.
Yes,
we have
I think everybody would.
Yeah, we have all these modalities we have that are at our fingertips because of the way that the landscape of college football is changing. I don't agree with everything, but I'm also not in charge, and I don't have any say in anything that goes on. I'm on the receiving end of that, but it has. I got a call.
Oh, you're good. You're good.
It has drastically changed the way that I am able to coach and elevate players, and my job has become tenfold, maybe even 100-fold more important now because of the roster limits that they are gradually going to put in place. And
105, right?
105 for football. So now the best ability is availability, and they only play the game. They only play 14 games if you make it. Is that correct? If you make it in the national championship, is it 14 games?
I think it's
17. It's going to be
17.
Yeah, if you go through every step, including your
okay.
conference championship game.
Yeah.
Excuse me, 17 games.
17.
Yeah.
So 17 days out of the year, I have to be able to program for those days from January to January, and make sure that our team is ready to play every Saturday, or in the Sun Belt or the Fun Belt,
Mm-hmm.
we play on weeknights, and some days we have 5-day turnarounds, and some games we have 10-day turnarounds, and some games we have 21-day turnarounds, which has happened in the past. My ability to get the staff that I need to help us program is for these games is the value has drastically increased.
So Alabama has a running back this year that Connor trained for 4 years. What's his name, Connor? He's number 20. Alabama, they've been bragging on him in practice. The first carry he had at Louisiana,
Trey Washington.
He went 80 yards per touchdown. It was his only carry for the night. And I'll never forget watching and talking about that to you after the game. So anyway, but these players that you're going to see, the moving around is going to continue. That's not. I think hopefully they'll come up with a system to compensate these schools when they spend. I'm good with transfers if you're graduating. You graduate in 3-4 years, I think you ought to be able to go where you want to. But to me, school in the first 3 years, if the kid spends 3 years somewhere and doesn't graduate, stupid as it sounds, the school should be compensated for it. Something.
Daniel Jeremiah was asked whether or not NIL has affected this draft class for the National Football League. I'll have that for you on the other side of our final timeout. Final call for phone calls as well here on this edition of The Drive. We'll be right back.
You're listening to The Drive with Wes Neighbors and Steve Moulton on 97.7 ESPN The Zone.
I'm here with Thomas from Talent Heating and Air. With the temperatures going up and temperatures going down right now is a good time to get your heating and air system looked at. Thomas, when somebody calls, you guys answer.
That's right. The phones are staffed by us. They're manned 24/7. We're ready to come out and take care of you that day.
How do they give you guys a call?
You give us a call at 256-503-4490.
And you can find you guys on the World Wide Web at
talenthvac.com.
And now is a good time to do this because you guys are offering a special deal.
That's right. We're doing $49 tune-ups this spring. We're also doing free second opinions. We offer that year-round. Somebody comes out, they say you got a bag compressor, leaking refrigerant. Give us a call, see if we can save you some money.
Thomas from Talent Heating and Air. Thomas, one more time, that phone number.
256-503-4490. AL certain number 21014.
You've got to experience Toyotathon at Bill Penny Toyota. They've got the selection with over 700 new Toyotas to choose from. And they've got the extras with Bill Penny perks and a 10-year unlimited warranty. So get on over to Bill Penny Toyota today and experience Toyotathon. Bill Penny Toyota in Huntsville and online at BillPennyToyota.com. Bill Penny's Toyota 10-year unlimited warranty is valid through the 10th year of ownership. Valid on new vehicles only. See dealer for details.
I'm here with Stan McDonald of Jacob Title. Stan, I've heard that every real estate closing at Jacob Title is a very big deal. Why is that?
Wes, I'm reminded of a very impactful statement that I heard from Coach Gene Stallings years ago when he talked about big games and little games. He said he didn't like that comparison. He says because try losing one of those little games. And if you ever do, it ends up being the biggest game all year long. Well, it's the same thing with real estate closings. Every game, every closing is a very big deal at Jacob Title because when it's your closing and your contract on the line, it's a very big deal. And we understand that at Jacob Title.
So it sounds like whether your client is a first-time residential buyer or a multi-million-dollar investor, they can expect your A game.
That's exactly right. As a matter of fact, when you bring your real estate closing to us at Jacob Title, we understand it's all about trust and confidence. And when Stan McDonald tells you that a chicken dips snuff, you can look under his wing for the box.
And like Beams likes to say, there's no doubt about it.
Hey folks, Bob Baumhauer here. We're extremely proud that Baumhauer's Victory Grill has been serving Alabama for 43 legendary years. Our motto is legendary fun, legendary food, and we strive to make every dining experience a special one for all of our guests. Our menu features delicious, always fresh and scratch-made in-house recipes. And of course, our award-winning wings and sauces. And don't forget, our happy hour and halftime daily specials cannot be beat. Baumhauer's Victory Grill. Legendary fun, legendary food.
Isn't the story of the prodigal son an amazing story? Basically, a rowdy boy who literally wished his father dead, ran away, and consumed his wealth with hard and fast living. Yet the father looked for his return every day, and when the boy got tired of eating pig slop, he decided to return. What did the father do? As soon as he saw that boy, he ran to him, threw his arms around him, and killed the fatted calf for a great celebration. Hey, I'm John Dees, pastor of the Cross Point Church. If you're looking for a church home, come see us, smack dab across the street from the YMCA in Madison.
From the Fox 54 Weather Center, I'm Chief Meteorologist Jordan Dressman. A mostly cloudy to overcast sky through the course of the afternoon, continuing to talk about the opportunity for isolated and widely scattered showers and thunderstorms. Temperatures climbing into the mid and upper 70s, dropping into the low and mid 60s as we head into the overnight early into your Thursday morning, holding on to the opportunity for a little bit of rain. A mostly cloudy to overcast sky once again for your Thursday, and once again, temperatures climbing into the mid and upper 70s. We're also holding on to the opportunity for isolated and widely scattered showers and thunderstorms. I'm Chief Meteorologist Jordan Dressman on your home for ESPN Radio, 97.7 ESPN The Zone.
Sports Talk 24/7, 365. Your full-time sports station.
You're doing a great job. Keep up the good work.
Is 97.7 ESPN The Zone.
Doesn't anyone do any work around this joint anymore?
Final call for phone calls. 256-576-4977, the telephone number. The Titans franchise, they've had the number one pick. This is the third time in the common draft era. Boy, I love that sentence, since 1967. The previous selections, they've gone pretty good. Defensive end John Matuzak was their first pick of the overall draft of 1973. And in 1978, some guy by the name of Earl Campbell was the first overall selection for then the Houston Oilers. But Daniel Jeremiah was asked the effect of NIL on this draft class here in 2025.
Yeah, I mean, I think it has a big impact, and I wouldn't, say it's even specific to quarterback. I think other positions it's had a bigger impact. I think in years past, the easiest sell for an agent was to a running back, even if he had middling production, which was to say, hey, you've got to start getting paid for these carries you have in your body as soon as possible. So I thought you saw a lot of guys come out when, maybe they weren't quite ready yet. And now those kids are getting paid, either by their school or somebody else. And so they have opportunities, and that's, it's kept a lot of those kids in school. I think for the quarterback situation, again, it's more of guys that are, I think for the most part, it's guys who would have been middle, late round picks, that they're easier to sell. You're going to make more money coming back to school than you will being a 5th round pick, 6th round pick. But, I think that's a factor. I don't think like the guy that I think people would look at with this example would be Drew Aller, but I don't think that was really a financial decision. I think that was just more so him feeling like he wanted to go back to Penn State and see if they could, finish off what they got close to last year. So, I think the quarterback class this year, where it's not as star-studded, it's just that's the roller coaster. We had 6 last year. Like, there's no way you keep up that pace. So there's just going to be big years and there's going to be lean years. And I don't know if that's quite as related to the money aspect of it. It's just that's the way it's always been.
That is Daniel Jeremiah, and we'll have some more audio from Daniel Jeremiah. But Connor, something that you mentioned to me during one of the breaks that just kind of blew my mind, and I've never really kind of wrapped my head around this. And yes, I'm going there because you went there. The idea of NFL draft has been around forever. It's just been around forever. But the idea of a high school football draft, are we really heading down that path?
No.
I was just talking.
It's never gonna
I don't think feasibly it couldn't happen, but you just never know. Who's to say that these kids or an organization is just like, you know what, we can pay this guy, and I've already been around people that are like, why are these kids going to school? What's the point? And they just become
because less than 1% of these kids will play in the NFL.
So there's that.
I don't disagree with you. I'm just saying these are the types of ideas that people throw out there because they don't see it as schooling for young, productive citizens to go out to the community, they see dollar signs, and you can already see that like money is moving mountains in the whole landscape of college football. So
UCLA just landed 2, in theory, high-level quarterbacks.
And might not be there next year. I mean, so
may not be there after the December portal period for all
December. I mean, UCLA got that one of those quarterbacks because nobody else wanted to pay him.
Nico.
Not a school, and he didn't get what he got at Tennessee.
but he still got some.
Yeah, but still, I mean, he left Connor because he wanted $4 million instead of 2.1, and so he skipped practice.
Yeah, that's crazy.
That's why nobody wanted him other than UCLA.
And I don't know if it's true or not, but it's been reported by everybody that he wanted more money to play in the Ohio State game because it was a playoff game and not a regular season.
And they paid this kid $5 million, $1 million, and while he was still in high school.
It's still in high school.
$2 million while he was redshirted, and then $2 million last year. So to me, what it is it's the market will always find their sweet spot, and the whole thing is not sustainable. Like you haven't read where Ohio State got their national championship, but they didn't spend as much money as they did last year.
No,
it's not sustainable.
Still haven't beaten Michigan.
Yeah. Still, it's crazy to me. Crazy to me, but no one's going to give as much as they want to give because they don't get the tax break if they were to give it to like the school. So there's not as much incentive to give to NIL.
That's 100%. And something I hadn't thought about.
Yeah. I think from what I've read, now I don't know how true this is, but some states have tried to not been able to tax collegiate NIL because of that reason.
Yeah.
So they're not going to bring in as much in face value, but they get to keep more. They get to keep what is promised of them, and so will be quote unquote tax exempt, which is also insane.
Well, there's the feds that really are the ones that matter, though.
Well, I guess from state tax,
yeah.
But still, sometimes just state tax is higher than the federal tax in some states, depending on what it is. But I'm not giving any tax advice.
Finally, for you Bama fans, here's a name that popped up on my list today that I was like, oh, wow, he's still playing. Notre Dame went through spring practice, and now they're having an issue in the quarterback room with a couple of quarterbacks that have jumped into the transfer portal this spring. Marcus Freeman told reporters yesterday he confirmed that a former Alabama quarterback is now possibly making a return to quarterback because he was a wide receiver last year. Yes, Tyler Buckner, who returned to the Notre Dame football team last summer as a walk-on after helping the Irish lacrosse team to a national championship, may resume his quarterback duties this fall.
Well, what's the ball called in lacrosse?
Oh, I have no idea.
I don't either, but that's what he looked like he was throwing when he played quarterback at Alabama.
That's South Florida game?
Yeah, remember he bounced past it to him?
Yeah.
Looked like a pass in lacrosse.
Yeah. So we might not be done with Tyler Buckner as a collegiate quarterback.
Can't wait to see that. Go Irish.
I knew that would put a smile on your face.
I've seen everything. There's no question. You're at the age. Well, every time I think I've seen everything, something else happens. And I mean, has anybody ever crossed their mind to have a pig to be attracted to a pig?
I mean, we've had a little bit of everything in this show today.
Yeah, no question about that.
I'm still not tall enough for this ride.
Bonesaw, you are always welcome.
Thank you.
And I feel like our visits are too long in between. We need to go to Lafayette.
No doubt.
We need to go to Lafayette.
Well, I did last year.
Well, we need to go to Lafayette.
We need to have a Mardi Gras special.
Oh, I'm in. I don't think I'm tall enough for that ride. We'll talk to you tomorrow.
WCZN, Union Grove, Huntsville, Alabama. 97.7 ESPN, The Zone.